I'm Caleb Trout. And when you hear of the Great Depression, you probably think of starving or jobless people who can't find work anywhere. But there was one company that managed to find growth even in these hard times. All possible because of one moment in history that changed the future of the auto industry. Now, a turning point in the American auto industry was when Chrysler bought out the Dodge brothers. First, we'll look at the rise of Walter Chrysler to that day, and then we'll look at that day and the effects of it later. Now, the years before that day are plagued with Walter Chrysler's rise to success as a business leader and automaker. Now, according to the International Directory of Company Histories from encyclopedia.com, copyrighted in 1995, in 1924, Walter Chrysler left General Motors and joined the Maxwell Motor Company, which in that year he helped earn $4 million in profit. And in the following year, Chrysler took control of the company and changed the name to the Chrysler Company, named after himself. And in that year, he managed to record a net profit of $17 million. Now, this was largely due to the fact that he introduced a new line of cars called the 50, 60, and 70, which were named after the top speed at which that car could go. Now, they go on to say that in 1927, this is only 3 years after he had joined this company, he managed to expand his line of vehicles to a phenomenal number and expand his net profit as well to $19 million. Now that Chrysler had built his company up to this point, he wanted to find something that he could drop the rock in the pond, so to say. And so he decided to make a risky business move. And so on May 28th, 1928, he decided to buy out the Dodge brothers, and he did so by giving them 170 million shares of Chrysler stock. And he also took on their debt that they had at the time, which was $57,000. Now, as stated by Dr. David Bryant from ChryslerClub.org, last updated December 23rd, 2011, Walter Chrysler was careful not to develop the company too rapidly and make it oversized as he foreseen problems with doing that. And he did this by moderating the production of his vehicles, like per month. He didn't want to have too much stock. And he also spent more time in researching technology and ways to be more efficient. And the survival of Walter Chrysler through these processes allows for him to survive the Great Depression easier. And in 1936, already 7 years of the Depression, which is a pretty long time for a depression, he had managed to pay off all debt that he had for the Chrysler Company, that he had incurred from the merger of the Dodge brothers. And because Chrysler was so successful and survived during the Great Depression, it allowed for them to be a major factor in the World War II effort there. And he did so by basically shutting down most of the domestic production line of vehicles for people. And they instituted production lines for machines and technology for the war, such as small arms all the way up to tanks. They made a wide variety of them. And he basically just stopped those, like slamming the brake on a car. They've had very limited amount of cars out for people, but people weren't buying them anyway. And in the end, we can see that by looking at Chrysler's rise to success and at that day and the effects later, how the merger really helped Chrysler survive the Great Depression and become a factor in the World War II effort. Now, May 28, 1928 was a very crucial day for the American auto industry as two companies became one and one survived.